I believe that when we have an internal shift, when we have a healing, or we have some spiritual growth, or we've released some trauma, whatever terminology we want to use, when we feel better. Those moments, those experiences are moments that we feel connected, we get it, it's in our core. And those are really important first step. And I really want to emphasize that's the important first step. It's the vital first step. I think what can happen, though, is when people have had those moments, whether it's because they've been through a center or a 30-day program, they've had a spiritual awakening, maybe they had a life wake-up call, through a physical health crisis or a divorce or whatever. Many people might have these moments where they go get help and they get it. And then they go back into their life. They have this new self. They're bringing it into their old life. They get caught. All of a sudden, they're beginning to be around the same people, having the same conversations, thinking the same things, eating the same foods. They're beginning to have the same thoughts that they had before, which creates the same the feelings that match these thoughts. All of a sudden, their world starts beginning to look like it did in the past. All of a sudden, they're back to feeling like they used to before they had this great healing experience. And I let people know those experiences are true. The body and the mind and the soul and the spirit have changed. However, we have to be able to, for sustainability, there has to be then a commitment to a lifestyle change. And again, this is where I always go back to the chicken and the egg analogy. A lot of people make lifestyle changes without having the internal shift, and they get discouraged because a lifestyle change alone can't create the sustainable life that we want, the new feelings, the new thinking, the how we experience other people in the world. By itself, it doesn't do anything. And people that have been in a lot of therapy or have had these great spiritual awakenings or consciousness awakenings or healings, they get it. They're like, yes, I see the light. I've changed. I will never do this again. I will never have to feel this way again. And yet they go back into their life without making the lifestyle change. It has to happen together. And so that's what I have found. The people that are out there living the lives that they want to live. I know some people feel like, God, if I can just not suffer, that's enough. Get that. But we want to offer people not to just not suffer anymore, but to feel joyful, to actually feel hopeful, to get excited and feel creative again, or for the first time. And in order to get there, though, it demands first a full surrender to, yes, I'm ready to change. A lot of people, it takes a while to get there, but when we have a full yes to wanting to do whatever it takes to make that change, to have that healing, to let go and not be the label, the addiction anymore. That when we have that moment, we go through the process, we get to these core issues, we have the moments of aha, where we feel good, we remember our hearts, we remember what that feels like. And then we need to walk back into our world completely changed, meaning what we eat, what we think, what we do, how we interact, how we hold ourselves, the kind of people that we're choosing to be around, being very selective, and also the kind of healing modalities that we're going to be doing. It's a lifelong practice. We like to say it's the lifelong journey. People, it's really kind of funny, and I fall into this myself. I think we're conditioned to think, oh, I've got these problems. I'm going to overcome them. I'm going to heal them. I'm going to get well. So then I can start living my life. Then my life can begin if I can just not have this addiction. If I can just start having better relationships. If I can just overcome my depression and my anxiety. Once that is taken care of, then life will begin. And we fall into it. We all do. And yet it's so funny. The irony is, it's showtime. Like, we've arrived. We're here. And the paradox, the shift, is that all of these things, whether it be an addiction or depression or anxiety, all of those things that we used to think were obstacles to living the life we want, we realize are actually the greatest teachers, the greatest gifts, that through the process of working through them and overcoming and healing, that we actually are starting to live the life we keep thinking is out there. It becomes right now. And that's not as though we've got the finish line. It's not like life's going to begin then. It's not like our past has been just one big mess, that we have to feel ashamed about, and the future is where it is. It's like now. And all of a sudden, all of our suffering, all of those parts of our life that have brought us some of our deepest, darkest shame, all of a sudden become our greatest strengths, our greatest wisdom. And just speaking from my own personal journey, do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And just speaking from my own personal journey, having grown up with sexual abuse in my family for a very large percentage of my childhood. Well, just thinking about this sort of trauma, most of my life I had deep shame about this. Made me feel damaged, defective, dirty. I wanted to hide it. I didn't want to seem flawed or broken in any way. So that was a part of me that I felt like I either had to hide, or I had to overcome, or I had to pretend wasn't there. And I wasted, and so a lot of my life was spent on feeling a lot of shame and blame. But through doing the approach, through going through the healing journey, through going through the integrative healing model that we do at the sanctuary, all of a sudden these parts of me that I felt the most ashamed by are actually the parts of me that I'm now, the healed parts of me, that I'm now able to source from great strength, great compassion. I'm able to sit with other people that have gone through similar situations, but I also have resilience, I have perseverance. I no longer see those parts of my life as something to be ashamed of. I don't know that I'll ever come to terms that that's okay. I don't think any of us have to make our past okay, but it no longer has to inform us in ways that creates depression and creates those limitations. That the past can be the past, but how we hold the past, how we source from the past, how we can now be of service because of our past completely changes. So I can honestly sit here right now and say that because of these parts of my life that I used to feel like I had to overcome so much, I could begin to feel good, begin to have the connection I want, have been the pieces that have allowed me to have the greatest connection. There lies the paradox as well.